The fridge was moldy, the railings were a safety hazard, and the floor didn't match in any room, but we still bought it.
This is the story of how we bought a cottage in our 20s.
We were 2 properties in, just moved into our new home, and keen to pull off a third purchase, but we had a problem.
We didn't have the numbers to swing a rental property, and we definitely weren't ready to move again. Our options were limited.
We had always talked about buying a cottage someday. I grew up with some of my best memories at my family cottage, and Josh knew it was something he wanted to introduce to his family. We both wanted a getaway that was close enough to the city that family and friends could come enjoy with us every year.
Was that dream about to be our saving grace?
We ran the numbers and threw out the idea to our mortgage broker. He gave us exactly what we needed to hear. A cottage could be a viable option for us because it's considered a secondary home. That means a smaller down payment without having to move in. Jackpot.
We added the cottage to our vision board for that year. My gut knew we would find one, but we kept ourselves level-headed. We didn't want to buy one just to buy one. It had to be the perfect place.
We started looking at properties online, even drove out to walk around one of them, but it didn't feel right.
And then we remembered something from a few years back. A friend had joked that their neighbor was selling their cottage, and we should buy it. We messaged her on a whim and asked, "Is that cottage still for sale?" And as luck would have it, it was.
The first showing, it was a lot to take in. Mini fridge propped open, a sunroom overflowing with excess, a mismatch of flooring in every single room, and a porch railing that could impale you if you weren't careful. Call us delusional, but we knew we were up for the challenge despite our limited experience.
Our first home, we barely hung paintings. Our second home, we hired contractors, but how hard could it be? The home inspector confirmed we didn't have any major red flags. Mal's dad agreed that the bones were good, and the realtor took it home for us.
I see a lot of cottages. This one, you'd be dumb not to take it.
It had everything we were looking for.
40 minutes from the city, 15 minutes from a town with gas and groceries, lakefront property with good swimming water, and over an acre of land, perfect for renting out to guests. And we had a few things going for us heading into negotiations. We knew they were keen to sell, we knew they wanted to sell privately, which meant they didn't have a lot of buyers popping up, and we knew they had a deal fall through the year before.
After going back and forth, we were close to making a deal. We felt good about the price, but to make it a real win, we negotiated in the ATV and kayaks. They agreed we could have them, and unfortunately all the old furniture we'd later have to deal with. But it was worth it. We got the place for $25K under asking, and it was finally ours.
2 long months later, after the deal almost fell through a few times, we got the keys to the cottage just as the summer was starting up. We had less than 5 months to renovate it before winter would hit. What started as wanting to put in new flooring, paint some kitchen cabinets, and swap the bathroom vanity turned into ripping out almost everything to start fresh and fix the previous owner's decisions.
We put $50,000 into renovations that summer. $10K on new floors, $10K for a new dock, $10K for a brand new kitchen. It got to a point we joke about everything in life, and renos is $10K. We upgraded the deck railings, painted the entire cottage, landscaped the property, and sourced almost all the furniture through Facebook Marketplace. By the end of the summer, we were on a first-name basis with the guys at U-Haul and Rona.
It felt like we paused the rest of our life to pull this off, doing only the essential parts of our businesses and spending the in-between moments of sweat and high stress with having friends and family up to soak it all in with us. That summer pushed us to our limits, both physically and mentally, more times than we could count. But it's also some of the best memories we've ever made together, and we're thankful for the growth it's squeezed out of us.
That first year, we spent around $88,000 to purchase and reno it, but the work we put in gave the cottage a new valuation, $100K up from what we bought it for.
Our plan from the start has always been to rent it out for short-term stays in order to be able to have the luxury of a cottage in our late 20s instead of waiting until we hit 60. That's why we were kicking ourselves when we realized we messed up.
Being caught up in the renos, we didn't apply for our short-term rental license until the winter, and by then the rules had changed. We were the first application under the new rules, and as spring came and went, we accepted that the second summer we'd be carrying the cost and decided to lean in on enjoying it ourselves and split the mortgage 50-50.
We were busy traveling with work and honestly so tired of how hard we went working on it the first summer that we didn't put in any additional renos that second summer while we waited to find out if we'd get our rental license. The entire approval process took 7 months longer than expected, and even though we barely squeezed by, applying for 2 exceptions to make it happen, we got our license.
That second summer, we spent $40,000 carrying the cost of the mortgage, property tax, and utility bills like internet and electricity.
Last summer was our first rental season, and we made around $25K in revenue. We were nervous about renting it for the first time, so we kept a night between each stay and booked major holidays for ourselves to avoid partiers taking over. We also set aside cash to cover the mortgage in case we had any issues.
We still had to carry around 20K of the costs, and we put 10K of the revenue towards more upgrades. 7K for a new fireplace, and 3K spent on other upgrades like drywalling the sunroom, a new path from the driveway, and some fun things like a canoe for us and guests to enjoy. We ended the year with a solid 15K in the bank account that would carry us until the next summer.
After owning it for 3 years, we've spent around 60K in renos and upgrades, and about 40K a year on the mortgage, property tax, and other costs. The good news is, with the money we've put into it, our cottage is now worth 200K more than what we bought it for. Now, we're going into our 4th summer with the cottage, and we've got it almost fully booked for spring through fall, and we're on track to cover all our costs this year. We've upped our nightly rate and removed our buffer between stays, and we've already made more revenue than last year. Going forward, our annual costs will drop drastically as we have less renos planned and more rental income coming in.
Next year, we have a few more upgrades planned that should push us into profitability for this project. But to be honest, it's never been about profit for this one. While this property is definitely a great investment, we never intended it to be a short-term rental machine, and we don't plan to sell it for a very long time, if at all.
This is one of those lifestyle purchases that's more about using the money you have to live out the dreams you hold. We can't wait to keep making memories here, building for tomorrow while living for today.